Erev Shabbat Shalom Rabotai. We're continuing with our Mishna Yomi Masechet Eruvin. We are up to Perikei Mishnah Tet. Today's Mishnah should be Leilun Nishmat Neria ben Svetlana Ranbai ben Eliyahu ben Burcha Yisraelov Menuchatam beGan Eden. Amen. Today's Mishnah elaborates on the dispute cited in yesterday's Mishnah. Amar Lein Rabbi Akiva said to the sages, Im atem odim li, do you not agree with me, benoten eruvo b'me'ara, that if one places his eruv in a cave, she'en lo mimkom eruvo en alpayim amah, that he has only 2,000 amot from the place of his eruv and not from the ends of the cave, and he cannot consider the entire cave as 4 amot. Likewise, one who places his eruv in a city cannot consider the entire city as 4 amot. And the commentaries explain, Rabbi Akiva argues that we see from the law of a cave that there is a difference between one who is actually in the cave at the beginning of Shabbat, that in that case we treat the entire cave as his 4 amot, and one who merely places his eruv in the cave, who does not treat it as 4 amot. Now, the same difference should exist between one who is in a city and one who merely places his eruv there. And the sages respond to Rabbi Akiva's argument. Amrullah, the sages said to him, Ematai, when do we agree that one who places his eruv in a cave cannot consider all of it as 4 amot? Bisman she'en bad diyurin, when it is not inhabitable. Meaning, because its walls have collapsed and it's no longer properly enclosed and now it's inhabitable, that's when the sages agree that we cannot consider all of it as 4 amot. In that case, even someone spending Shabbat in the cave could not consider all of it as 4 amot, and the same holds true if he merely puts his eruv there. Aval yesh bah diyurin, but when the cave is inhabitable, meaning it's properly enclosed, and he places his eruv in it, me'alechet kulah v'chutza lah alpayim amah, then he may walk through the entire cave as if it is 4 amot, and an additional 2,000 amot beyond it, just as if he were in it at the beginning of Shabbat. Likewise, one who places his eruv in a city can consider all of it as 4 amot. And the Rav explains, the sages disagree with Rabbi Akiva's assumption that there is a difference between one who is in a cave at the beginning of Shabbat and one who merely places his eruv there. In their view, the only distinction that exists in regard to a cave is whether it is inhabitable or not. If the cave is uninhabitable, then even one who is in the cave as Shabbat begins cannot consider all of it as 4 amot. Rather, he must measure his 2,000 amot from the spot where he began Shabbat. If the cave is inhabitable, even if no one actually lives in it, then even one who merely places his eruv in it can consider all of it as 4 amot. Now, the same applies to a walled city of any size, even if it's uninhabited. One who places his eruv there considers all of it as 4 amot. Now, also, one who places his eruv in an inhabited, unwalled city of any size considers all of it. Again, one who places a eruv in an inhabited, unwalled city of any size considers all of it as 4 amot, as the commentaries point out. Now, the sages illustrate their distinction. Nimtza kal tocha me'al gabah. It emerges that the inside of the cave, when it's inhabitable, is treated more leniently than its top, which is not. For if one places his eruv inside a cave, he can treat all of it as just 4 amot, and he counts his tchum from its end. But if he puts his eruv on top of the cave, he must count his tchum from the place of the eruv. Now, all of this applies to one who places an eruv inside an inhabitable cave. V'la moded. But regarding one who measures his tchum from his place of residence, shamru notin lo alpayim, about whom the rabbis said that we give him 2,000 amot from it, sha'afilu sof midato kaleh b'me'ara. We agree that even if his 2,000 amah measurement ends in the middle of an inhabitable cave, his tichum ends right there and he may not walk farther into it. In this case, even the sages agree that an inhabitable cave is not treated as 4 amot. Now, this is an exact parallel to the case in the previous Mishnah, where the tichum of the small city ended in the middle of the large city. In that case, the residents of the small city do not consider the entire large city as 4 amot, and the tchum ends in the middle of it. So likewise, if a person's 2,000 amot end in the middle of an inhabitable cave, his tchum ends there in the middle of the cave. And that is in Rabotai of chapter 5, Mishnah 9. We begin now with chapter 6, Mishnah Aleph. Now, we learned in the first 2 chapters of this Masechet Eruvin that proper partitions must enclose an area before carrying in it can be permitted. The next 4 chapters relate to the rabbinic prohibitions of carrying between houses, courtyards, and alleys, even when they are all properly enclosed, and to remedies that the rabbis instituted to permit such carrying, namely Eruvin Chatzerot and Shitufei Mevot. Now, chapter Perek Vav Mishnah Alayev discusses carrying in a courtyard that a Jew shares with either an idolater or a kuti. Hadar im anochi bechatzer. If a Jew lives with an idolater in the courtyard, meaning their houses share the same courtyard, or he lives with someone who does not accept the laws of Eruv, which is a kuti. Now, the commentators point out the kutis were a nation brought by the Assyrian king Shalmaneser to settle the area of Eretz Yisrael left unpopulated by the exile of the northern kingdom. An outbreak of attacks by lions frightened them into converting to Judaism and serving God. However, they did not completely give up their idolatrous beliefs and practices. This is spoken about in the book of Kings, book 2, chapter 17, pasuk 6, and psukim 24 through 41. Now, as a result, there's a disagreement among the Tanaim whether the Kutis are sincere converts and legally Jews, or insincere converts and legally idolaters. All agree, however, that the Kutis do not accept the authority of the rabbis, and therefore they do not accept the laws of Eruv. So again, if a Jew lives with an idolater in a courtyard, or he lives with someone who does not accept the laws of Eruv, like a Kuti, that person prohibits the Jew from carrying items between his house and the courtyard, and even in Eruv with that person does not help. Because the rabbis explain, the commentators explain, the rabbis instituted this prohibition in order to discourage Jews from living in a courtyard with an idolater or a kuti. Div Rebbe Meir, these are the words of Rebbe Meir. Now, the commentators point out, strictly speaking, an idolater should not restrict a Jew's ability to carry in the courtyard because his dwelling is not considered a residence with regard to the laws of Eruv. Nevertheless, the sages wanted to discourage Jews from sharing a courtyard with idolaters to prevent them from being influenced by their behavior. They therefore decreed that a Jew may not carry on Shabbat between his house and a courtyard shared with an idolater, even with an Eruv. However, they allowed the Jew to carry if he symbolically rents the idolater's rights to the courtyard. The idolater will be reluctant to agree to this because he will suspect the Jew of renting these rights, which as far as he can see gain the Jew nothing, to engage in some manner of sorcery. So as a result, the Jew will not be able to carry on Shabbat, and he will be motivated to move out of the courtyard. This is how the Rav explains it. Now, Kutis are treated like idolaters with regards to the above laws, even according to the opinion that they are sincere converts, because they do not accept the laws of Eruv. And additionally, the rabbis wanted to prevent Jews from being influenced by the Kutis. Now, this is the opinion of Rebbe Meir. Like we said, Rebbe Meir teaches that even though it's rare for a lone Jew to share a courtyard with an idolater, the rabbis still instituted this prohibition for the times that it does occur. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, however, Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov disagrees. He says, "Le'olam eno oser ad shiu shnei Yisraelim osrin ze al zeh." The idolater does not prohibit carrying in the courtyard unless there are at least 2 Jews living in the courtyard who prohibit each other from carrying without an Eruv. Meaning, unless there are 2 homes in the courtyard occupied by Jews, so that even if there were no idolaters living there, they would have to make an Eruv between them to permit carrying. In such a case, the rabbis decreed that an Eruv joined by both Jews will not permit carrying unless they rent the idolater's rights. However, when there is only a single Jew living in the court with idolater, Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov says the rabbis did not prohibit carrying because it's unusual for a lone Jew to share a courtyard with an idolater. Now, since the Jew in any case will probably not live alone with the idolater, the rabbis saw no need to discourage him further by prohibiting carrying in the courtyard. Now, although a single Jew is not afraid to share a courtyard with a kuti because there is no danger involved, this leniency applies to a kuti as well, meaning kutis were included in this rabbinic decree only secondary. Therefore, whenever an idolater does not prohibit carrying, Tosfot explain, neither does a kuti. And the Rab does say, "V'alachat Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov." The halakha does follow the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. And that is in Rabotai of today's Mishna Yomi. Everybody should have a Erev Shabbat Shalom. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen v'amen.